Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. Coming up on this show, a grant helping business owners keep their properties safe, a big move for legal aid of Southern Nevada, and a local neighborhood with 100 years of history in one block. We have a great show for you today. Joining us with all of this and much more is our Ward 3 councilwoman. You know who it is, Olivia Diaz. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great.
It's good to see you. Happy spring.
Yes, the spring is lasting this cycle around. I'm enjoying the 80s for sure.
Exactly. It's great to have you on the show once again. Ward 3, great ward, mostly the east side of Las Vegas, but you've got some exciting fingers that go over to Area 15 now. Lots of cool stuff happening over
the
there.
downtown, Arts District. I have all
got it all.
Awesome.
Exactly. Well, you know it very well.
Areas.
For those of you out there not exactly sure where Ward 3 is located and what we're talking about, we're going to show you on the map. Again, it's the east side of Las Vegas, the downtown area, the Arts District, and that finger that's west of I-15, that is the area that has Area 15
historic
in it
neighborhoods.
Yeah, you've got all that
Side
too.
of the city.
Yeah, we're going to talk about historic neighborhoods today. We're going to throw that in. But before we get to that, Councilwoman,
yes,
the City of Las Vegas is offering local businesses up to $5,000. So, who's eligible? Well, joining us with the answer to that is Leah Williams. She's a Senior Economic Development Specialist with the city's Economic and Urban Development Department, or EUD. And Councilwoman, before we talk with Leah, welcome Leah, by the way, good to have you on the program. This program is your baby. This is something that you've kind of been a driving force behind.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
So we obviously first had a need surface through the pandemic when unfortunately a lot of businesses had to shutter and people had to shelter in place. And so we received a lot of calls about unfortunate situations where small business owners were being vandalized, and obviously not very much income coming in, but then that unfortunate event happening. So we decided as a city to try to do something about it, and thankfully we received ARPA dollars. We were able to basically create the first iteration of this security grant program, which awarded $10,000 for every business owner that needed to use funds to put extra lighting up, new security cameras, better glass, maybe shatterproof glass, whatever the case may be by each business owner. We try to refund them up to $10,000 if that was the amount of the investment. And a lot of times it is significant. So then now, move forward, we also go through spurts of unfortunate events in different parts of our community, and so I went back to EUD
and Leah.
And I said, please, can we do something more for business owners that are, again, feeling these types of public safety events happening to them? And here we are with another iteration of a program that will help some business owners in our redevelopment area.
Exactly. So Leah, take it from there. So this latest version of this program, tell us who qualifies and how does it work?
Yeah, so like Councilwoman mentioned, we had the security program before with the American Rescue Plan dollars, and we helped approximately 134 businesses with that program. So we knew that it was very successful and that there was still a need for more. So with this program, you have to be in one of the redevelopment areas. You have to have an active City of Las Vegas business license to qualify. And then you have to have some sort of theft, vandalism, some sort of record of that happening to your business.
Impact to your business.
Exactly. Another qualifier can be roadway improvement projects, because with the roadway improvements, sometimes access to your business is limited, and then maybe vandalism can increase as a result of that. So that can be another qualifier as well.
We've got about $100,000 available, right?
Yes.
It's first come, first serve. And how do people apply? This is great.
Yeah, so they can go to the City of Las Vegas website on the EUD page. It's listed under incentives. They can also email BSP for Business Security Program at lasvegasnevada.gov, and we can email them an application that way as well.
That's terrific. Well, Councilwoman, this is right up your alley because you've had a little bit of everything. The Arts District, as successful as it's been, we've had some vandalism go on there. We've had many roadway projects. Copper wire theft has been a big issue.
We've had significant storm drain improvements along Charleston. We have a very happening ward that thankfully we're getting a lot of investment in, but sometimes, as Leah mentioned, with the construction projects, it does impact the adjacency because then there's less traffic coming through because nobody wants to be in a reduced one lane to and from. And so then, you know, it adds more insult to injury as the businesses are surviving the construction and the lack of visitation sometimes. So I'm very happy that we have this new offering, and it's going to fly off the shelf like hotcakes. So I hope folks stay engaged, and if there is an opportunity to refund it, we'll do our best to offer another round.
Opportunity down the road. Yeah, this will be round 2, and we'll maybe possibly do it at round 3. So Leah, if business owners apply, they're in the redevelopment area, one of the redevelopment areas. They would qualify. Maybe they had someone try to break into their business, maybe actually even break in, etc. How long from the time that they apply will they probably see some money coming to them?
Of course, the applications will be time stamped, so you know we'll work on them on a first come first serve basis, and we want to get the business owners money as soon as possible because it's a reimbursement program. So how it works is they apply, we look and see if they're qualified, what they're asking for, what their impact has been. Once they know that they've been approved, that's when they will go and do the work that they said they're going to do. And then they'll send us the receipts, and that's when we reimburse them. So of course.
So there's a specific timeline of how things are going to.
Yes, if I recall correctly, I think the event could have happened July of 24?
Yes.
To present.
Right? Good to know. So it has to be within the last year.
The last fiscal year.
For us, our fiscal year is July to June of every year. So just so folks know, if something impacted your business July, August, September of last year, you still qualify.
Yeah, still works. Well, good to know. And then Leah, I'm sure a lot of business owners that are seeing this are very, very interested. Any other advice that you have for them as far as?
I mentioned the visual improvement grants too, the VIP. I think that's worth noting for business owners too.
Yeah, so we also have the Visual Improvement Program, which is another RDA program. It's a 2-to-1 match, so business owners can spend $50,000 on the exterior facade upgrades to their building, and they can be reimbursed up to $25,000. And that one's slightly different just because that one has to be presented to mayor and council for approval. So that process might be a little bit different, but that's something that could be available as well.
All right. Well, exciting stuff. Councilwoman, kudos to you. I know, like I say, you were a driving force in making sure that we could get to this point, and so it's reality now.
Yes,
so good stuff. Leah, thank you so much for being on the show. Leah Williams from our Economic and Urban Development Department. Thank you so much for being here. Councilwoman, I'm going to ask you to stick around, but Leah, we got to take a quick break here. Like I say, we need to take a break, but when we come back, a center providing legal help and lasting hope for people in our community. It's right after this.
Si un día fueras a tu escondite secreto y en lugar de lo que buscabas encuentras esto, ¿qué harías? Antes de que las drogas te afecten a ti y a tu familia, debes saber que cuentas con la ayuda necesaria. Tú puedes dejarlas. Si tú o un ser querido están luchando contra el uso indebido de drogas, llama al 1-800-662-4357 para información confidencial y gratuita o remisión a tratamiento. Visita samsa.gov/conoce los riesgos.
Welcome back, everyone. Legal Aid of Southern Nevada has been a lifeline for people seeking justice and facing dire situations. In 2024, the organization served a record number of people, more than 201,000 clients. The center recently celebrated the groundbreaking for a new facility. It's called the Advocacy and Justice Complex, a place of healing and hope. Now, Victoria Warren is a client and a survivor. Her attorney, Ellie Rouhani, shares her story in this moving video.
This is a letter from Victoria Warren, who was one of my clients. She came to me a couple of months ago, and we worked on her case. And we got her some of the help that she needed to get back on her feet. 7 years ago, I escaped an abusive and coercive situation. Recently, the man who hurt me tried to use the legal system to re-victimize me, dragging me into family court and throwing the trauma that he inflicted in my face to gain an advantage. I knew without a doubt that you were in my corner and that you genuinely cared about me. And in the courtroom, everyone, including my abuser, could see that you were fearless and determined in your pursuit of justice. You showed me that I'm more than my past victimization.
Well, Councilwoman Diaz, you had the opportunity to meet Victoria, the woman who wrote that letter, her beautiful baby girl, and her attorney, Ellie, who we heard from. Ultimately, Ellie helped Victoria regain custody of her eldest son. Her accused abuser forced her to sign those rights away. Now, here's a little excerpt from that meeting with the councilwoman.
This woman has changed my life, along with my fiance. Changed my life. And the separation of my son was the blessing that came out of it. Mm-hmm. And I've been sticking by her ever since. All type of resources. If anybody knows about a lot of the programs that can help protect these women out here, because I never knew about this program, never knew about it, and I'm safe. I'm safe now.
If I just could say one thing is, we do what our clients want, and we empower them to make the decisions about their lives. So we will not force them to do anything that they're not ready to do. So we work on their timetable. If they're ready for help, we are here to hold their hands through that journey.
Well, Victoria's attorney also helped her with ongoing therapy and a new place to stay after her accused abuser found out where she lived. Councilwoman, powerful stuff. You saw it firsthand, and I know this is a facility.
This is just a sampling of the daily work, one of hundreds of cases that legal aid takes on a daily basis when clients in need and sometimes in despair that walk through the doors are needing, because I don't know about you, Dave, but anytime I've been in a courtroom, it's not the most comfortable setting or one that you feel confident in. And I think it makes a difference for an individual to have legal representation, and legal aid strives to provide that for our seniors, for people who can't afford one, for our foster youth, for women who are victim of domestic violence or relationships that just went sour somehow and are now being threatened. And I'm just so grateful that they're going to go bigger and they're expanding their current campus. And we were there on April 10th to do a groundbreaking. It wasn't a traditional groundbreaking in the sense, but we got to meet clients like Victoria that shared their story about how impactful the work really is and how needed it is. And so now they're going to be able to have one contiguous campus.
Wow. Well, and when you have 201,000 clients in a year, Councilwoman, obviously a lot of need out there.
A lot of need.
Yeah.
A lot of need. And now this new building, it's called the Advocacy and Justice Complex. So it's legal aid part 2, because we're all familiar, I think, with the first campus off of Charleston. But now they're going to offer 3 stories. There's going to be more space. And I think they really want to make sure that it's one place where all their attorneys can be housed to be able to provide the services, but also areas that the victims can come and feel comforted in and safe. Because obviously we know we've had 2 very painful and tragic events in our Las Vegas community. The first one was 1st October. The second one was the shooting on UNLV's campus. And we just want to make sure we can basically shepherd all of the volunteers and all of the victims to one place when something of that magnitude happens. Because everyone's kind of alarmed, scared, looking for family members. And with Legal Aid Center, they've always been the agency or the entity that is called upon by law enforcement or the county social services network to help glue us all back together and figure out what we need to do moving forward. And I'm so excited that it's in my ward. Yeah,
exactly. You should be. It's quite a step forward for them. And obviously, as we mentioned, boy, quite a bit of need. Councilman, I wanted to ask you too, as far as, I think the important thing about legal aid of Southern Nevada is the fact that I think people sometimes will know that they need an attorney, but they figure, well, I can't afford one, so I'm just going to throw up my hands and just hope for the best. But that's really not what this is about, is it? No, this is really ensuring that they're going to have the best representation. These attorneys are
fully credited, knowledgeable about their cases, know what motions to file, know what is in best interest based on each client and what the client wants, right? There's an optimal, less than optimal, but an attorney will always be able to represent the needs of their client. When we go and represent ourselves, there's so many legal maneuvering, so many things that can happen when one side is represented by an attorney and the other one isn't, that then I don't think justice is really going to prevail in a scenario like that. And I think that's one of the legal aid's mission, is to make sure that the fairest outcome is the one that proceeds, and not one that, you know, is tied to money because one
I can
has,
afford a lawyer, but you can't, so too bad for you.
Exactly, and then the perpetuation of victimizing one side is, and that's why I think a lot of women don't want to leave, or men. I mean, we're in a days where it just depends.
Both ways,
It goes both ways. So, but when someone is in a situation and a relationship where one is victimizing the other, then there needs to be a path forward. And this I hope that it gives people hope that they don't have to stay in that very harmful, toxic relationship, but that they can arm themselves with a solid support system like Legal Aid Center. It gives them not just the attorney, but the wraparound services that come with stabilizing someone who's coming out of something very, very hard, very difficult to navigate.
They also, too, we should mention, their services run the gamut, really, and Councilwoman is certainly well aware of this, but they also help elderly clients, people who maybe are suffering from a disability, et cetera, who need legal
Children with IEPs.
Exactly, need that legal representation. But again, maybe in a situation where they can't really afford an expensive attorney.
Yes, so spread the word. Share with anyone that you may be hearing is going through troubling times and may feel like nothing is available to them. Please share Legal Aid as a resource for them to go check out. And then also looking forward to the ribbon cutting coming up.
When is that going to be?
I believe they said that we should be getting notifications in the fall of 26.
Wow,
so I'm so excited.
Not that far away. Yeah. All right. Well, Councilwoman, thanks so much. Great discussion there. We have to take another quick break, but when we come back, a neighborhood with 100 years of history in one block. It's after this.
Sí puedo.
Creemos en ti.
Todos los días, millones de personas celebran su recuperación de las adicciones y los desórdenes mentales, mientras otras empiezan su viaje. Sé parte de ello. Comparte tu historia. Únete a las voces de la recuperación. Juntos, somos mucho más fuertes. Para información gratis y confidencial y remisión o tratamiento por trastornos mentales y uso de sustancias, llama al 1-800-662-4357.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Councilwoman Diaz is with us, and from Ward 3. And Councilwoman, I love this. You recently took a tour of one of our community's oldest neighborhoods,
On
John
the
S.
only
Park.
day it rained in Las
And the only day it rained in Las Vegas, I saw this. It was a walking tour, no less. I've seen this piece prior, and it is really fascinating.
It is.
The tour guide, very knowledgeable. And
I'm one lucky councilwoman who gets to represent the two historic districts that are designated.
Pretty cool.
One of them being John S. Park, the other one being Beverly Green. But we got to get an amazing tour of John S. Park and learn more about the who's who of yesteryear, and so many names that we can identify as a Las Vegas community, that because they're namesakes in different buildings or different places or streets, but then actually connecting what they did, where they lived at the time they did, kind of does give you another understanding of our history as a city.
Well, let's give everybody a peek. We're going to show you a little bit of the walking tour and what took place that day.
So hello everybody, my name's Alan Rogers. Hello. So this is a tour of the people who founded Las Vegas. This house is interesting. It had an ad in the newspaper bragging that they had air conditioning. Well, it's crazy. Again, this neighborhood's so nuts because like everything has so many things. Okay, does anybody remember Alpine Village? So he was, wow, that was an aggressive driver. I just like to imagine this house out here in the middle of nowhere because this was out here for about 5 years before anything else. I researched the 340 houses in the neighborhood, their history, and I mean like there were like 120 good stories. We're gonna tell 20 of them today. let's go ahead and start. We're actually going to start with the oldest home in the neighborhood. In fact, the oldest home south of Charleston. So this was the first one, 1931. This was way before air conditioning was built into houses. So you can see it has kind of this tall roof line. And it's also got this really high transom and this vent at the top. That actually helped with the heat in the summer. Right across the street here is one of the first mayors of Las Vegas in his house. So this is kind of interesting. So this, in fact, let's move down the street a little bit. So this is William Farron's house, and it was built in the 1940s. Farron, he was the mayor. He owned White Cross Drugs, which you see it over there. It used to be on Fremont Street originally, and he became mayor during a time when Las Vegas almost died. So, you know, in the 1920s, after the railroads, you know, they were like, hey, screw you, Las Vegas, because you joined the railroad strike. He became mayor right then, and he wasn't sure if Las Vegas was going to
survive.
Yeah, and so he was mayor during a very, very, very difficult time. He was the mayor when the dam was announced, and suddenly everybody was like, oh, okay, we're not going to be, you know, another Nevada ghost town, because he really thought it was going to become a ghost town. So this house is interesting. It had an ad in the newspaper bragging that they had air conditioning in the built-in air conditioning. So they built the vents in and everything. So this is a house from the 1940s. Notice the giant windows in the front.
Yeah.
You can tell that's a post-World War II house, because in World War II we learned how to make glass a lot better because of the bombers and stuff like that. And so after the war, people would build these giant windows to kind of show how baller they were. This guy, this is George Franklin Sr.'s house. George Franklin Sr., Franklin Street, right down here, is named after him. He immigrated to the United States alone when he was 9 years old. In World War I, he developed an engine for the airplanes, and then he invented a machine gun harness so that you could fire machine guns from an airplane. So he like has all these patents to his name. He lost a lot of money during the Depression, and he was like, I'm going to work for the government, and that's what he did. He worked for HUD. He helped bring all that the housing authority money to Nevada, and he helped lay this whole neighborhood out. So this is Bob Stupak's home. So he lived here, and really, he's the reason
Vegas World.
Yeah, Vegas World and the Stratosphere, right? So we have both the good and the bad son here. This place was debaucherous, parties all the time, all that kind of stuff. This is not the place where he was like murdered and stuff like that. He was living over in Pinto Palomino, I think, at that point. But so this was his house. Kind of represents the dark side of gaming to me. What it can turn into with the negativity and all the nastiness. In one block, we can understand 100 years of Las Vegas history, which I think is pretty unique for the Las Vegas.
I love that piece. I'm a history nut myself, and so just to see that, it's really intriguing. Who knew?
Yeah, it took many hours for them to scour all newspaper articles of yesteryear and probably titles and whatnot, but I want to thank all of them for making it happen that day, because I came out a little bit more knowledgeable of who used to live in John S. Park. And one really cool thing too about John S. Park is they have a really strong sense of community, they really look out for each other. So I love that they have their own neighborhood association. They've recently installed their own neighborhood. Basically, they designed their signs that basically show that they're a historic neighborhood, and they're kind of throughout the neighborhood, and they have a lot of events that bring them together. And recently they had, a few weekends ago, an event where they were selling plants, and they were also cleaning up their neighborhood. And so I just want to say I'm really proud to represent them on the city council, and I love the depth of knowledge and the passion they have for also preserving their homes as much as they can to what their original building and structure were.
Yeah, pretty cool. Well, people may not know Councilwoman, but we've got an historic preservation officer that works for the city. Her name is Diane Seabrand, and she works with neighborhoods like this to make sure that the integrity of the neighborhood is still remains exactly.
And when you live in a historic neighborhood, you're supposed to come before the Historic Preservation Commission when you want to do any kind of change to your home. to make sure that you have the permission of the Historic Preservation Commission to move forward, and that it's something that will keep the character
and fit.
of your house that was built in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. So reach out to Dr. Seabrandt. She really is here to be that expert in the realm, in the information. She also is very knowledgeable. Once your home is designated historical, if it's on the registry, you qualify for grants.
Yeah.
So moving forward, she's very knowledgeable about how to access that grant funding, but you have to do it with time. So don't wait when you're needing to do it tomorrow, but make sure you're looking into it ahead of time. And if you want, if your home is almost in pristine condition from when it was originally built and you want it added to the historic registry, it's an extra step, but reach out to Dr. Seabrandt and she'll make it happen.
Yeah, you know, let me give you her information. Again, it's Diane Seabrandt. She can be reached at 702-229-2476 or send her an email. Her email address is dcbrandt@lasvegasnevada.gov. She'll talk your leg off too, because she knows all the history of the
And she
city
can also
as well,
connect you to standards that were created about what you could do with your windows and your doors for a certain time period. So there are design guidelines and standards that were put together a couple of years ago. So make sure you get those from her too.
Yeah, obviously it's not to the point where you can't change anything. If you've got, windows that are, falling apart or doors that need replaced, you're able to do that, but you just have to make sure that it's not going to be something that doesn't fit with the historic nature of the
home
neighborhood.
and the neighborhood.
So, So I love that, Councilwoman. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, you were out there, you saw it firsthand.
I did. It was a lovely day. We got to actually feel the light rain that came down, but learned a lot about, again, who lived in what home and how impactful they were to the burgeoning Las Vegas community.
It's exciting. Well, good story. Well done on your part. And you learn something new every day about Las Vegas. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So, Councilwoman, always a pleasure to have you on the show, but we want to tell everybody out there, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Diaz, you can reach her by phone, obviously, 702-229-4623, or send her an email. Her address is ward3@lasvegasnevada.gov. You can also find the Ward 3 website on our website, City of Las Vegas website, and subscribe to the Councilwoman's newsletter. You can use that QR code. I'll tell you more about that in just a minute or two. But Councilwoman, again, great to have you on the show.
Yes, and I just want to wish Mother's Day a happy Mother's Day weekend.
It's here.
I know that we put a lot of love into our family, and
well, happy Mother's Day to you
being a mom
as well.
is extra special. So be the queen that day.
You too. So, and we'll see you back in 6 weeks. Folks, don't miss our next show beginning on May 8th with Councilwoman Frances Allen Polensky. City of Las Vegas TV is streaming. You can catch all of our shows on YouTube at City of Las Vegas TV. You can also watch online at lasvegasnevada.gov/connect. Be sure to check out our newsletter that I mentioned, and you can also subscribe by scanning the QR code in the closing credits of this show. Thanks again for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.